My name's Jeff St Laurent. This is the Selling Coaching Tuesday call, and we have a special guest on the call today, which I'm going to bring in just a minute, and we're going to get some good stuff, starting to understand how we can build an audience better and get clients through one of the social platforms called Meetup.com. So before we get into that, just a few things to keep you aware of, to keep you educated as I help coaches transition to a full-time business. I'm really dedicated to doing that, whether you're a client of mine or not. My hope is that through our interaction in the different avenues that I have through my education, that I can really help you move forward to that place. And then, of course, if the timing's right and we work together on a more one-on-one or a group mentoring basis, of course, I always love that opportunity. I do always record these Tuesday calls. They are live, so the great benefit if you are listening to the recording is coming to the calls, being able to interact with us, get some questions and answers, some comments, so forth and so on. So if you can ever make it to a call, I'd love to have you. And of course, I always appreciate the people that do call in. If you go to my website, sellingcoaching.com, under the university, that's where I post all of the call recordings on Friday after the calls are done. Also at sellingcoaching.com, right at the top, you'll see a banner that says join my private Facebook group. For those of you that aren't there yet, I'd have you at least consider checking that out. It's a great group of coaches. We're growing it every day. We got some cool things coming at you in the new year. I'll be announcing in the next month as we head into 2017, believe it or not. But some great stuff happening there to help you, get your message out better and be more effective at that. So stay tuned for that piece. But if you're not there already, I'd love to have you over there. Again, just sellingcoaching.com. Right at the top, you'll see a banner there. And then, as I said, when the timing's right, if you really are looking for more guidance, I'm happy to talk to you about, what it would be like to become your mentor coach, whether it's one-on-one or in my group mentoring program as well. And if you're interested in talking more about that, you can go to my website under the Work With Me tab, scroll to the bottom. You can fill out that form right there, and then we can just create a relaxed conversation to kind of get a feel for where you're at and see if things are right for you. Today, what we're going to be talking about is how to use meetup.com to get clients. And I'll even, as a caveat to that, I'll say, I don't know if I'm using the word right, caveat, but the point is even bigger than that is, before the client piece is just to start to build an audience. And I have one of my great one-on-one mentoring clients on the line, Lillian Velez. We're going to get her in a second going, just kind of share her story with that and her experience literally in the past week and a half, 2 weeks that she started with that. But first I want to get into it and say, you'll hear me say all the time, and especially when I reiterate things, and if you're a student of mine and you follow me on education, on my university, on these calls, I don't think there's been a call yet, at least a recent, where I haven't said, our number one objective as a coach is to build an audience, to build that community of people. When coaches start coming to me to work with me, some of the ideas they have right away is they want to get products. They want to get something, maybe ready to sell, something other than, let's say, our one-on-one coaching services or group coaching. And I always tell people, I'm like, you can certainly do that, but who are you selling it to? As you're starting off, most people don't have anybody. They might have some friends and family or some work colleagues, etc., but most people have nobody on their list, and so your number one priority always and always will be is building an audience, and that will never stop because you're always looking to grow. And it's not about quantity, the volume of people, but rather it's how much you have engaged. I'd rather have a list in a group of 500 really engaged people than a group of 100,000 people that are just kind of there. Because at the end of the day, only a small percentage of those people are going to, really be engaged. And so that's our role. If I had a group of 100,000 people and the majority of them were engaged, that's fantastic. But always go for that engagement. Always go for the building the relationships. Because as a coach, it's vital in order for them to hire us, in order for us to get clients. And the reason I always talk about getting clients, in that perspective, we can have other products down the road, as we build our audience, etc. But right away, that's where our primary income is going to come from, is that coaching, whether it's group and or one-on-one coaching especially. And so it's building those relationships, it's taking that time to get to know people. and them starting to see you not only as an expert as a coach, but you have to remember, your expertise as a coach is somewhat intangible to them. They don't really know the value of it until they start to see you. So they start to experience you, and more importantly, they start to experience coaching. But then for you, it's coming in a place, or coming from a place when you choose maybe your message, your niche, meaning I like to say helping who with what specifically. When you start to define that, you're coming from a place of experience, meaning you've had some experience, whether it's been a technical experience, work experience, or just life experience. You overcame a disease, you lost somebody, and you've coped with it. You've gone through a transition, you've been through a divorce, so forth and so on. It's coming at it from those spaces, and if there's enough passion behind that to wanting to help other people who are currently going through that, you have a really strong stance because you've been through what they're going through, and you know what they're going through, what they feel like emotionally, and that's a big factor in them getting to trust you and start to look at you as a vehicle or of a hope for them, that like, wow, I feel like this person can help me. The reason I'm going over all this is because I lead into Meetup, and basically what Meetup is, you could just call it a social platform, and basically it's for people that want to create what they say like a meetup group. And so you can find probably just about any type of group there. People do it as hobbyists, like I want to get a hiking group together, I want to get a cycling group together, I want to get a knitting group together. Not me, but anyways, the point is you could do that, and you say, hey, we're going to meet and go for a ride, bike ride on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. and we meet at X, Y, and Z place, and we can go. So you can start a Meetup group, and Meetup promotes you within the Meetup community, and obviously people that are local can join your group, and then obviously they can attend any of the events that you're offering there. So it's a great platform for business as well, because now it gives us the opportunity to create a group around the area that we feel, especially if we've identified those people, like I said, helping who with what specifically. We can create a group for those people specifically, and then we can get a local spot where we can actually meet with those people, and it's a great way to host an event. When I was doing events over the past 12 years or so, whenever I did my own event, the biggest challenge you'll ever have with doing a live event yourself, meaning where you're not necessarily going to a spot where people are inviting you, where there's already people, you're having your own event. You're picking the location and you're inviting people. That's always going to be your biggest challenge, and where your most of your effort's going to be when creating events is getting people there. Meetup's a great platform because the whole premise of the platform itself is to meet up, right, with people. Like, people are there because they want to meet other people, who have similar interests. So now as you're coming into it as a coach, you can take a look at it, and we'll go into this in just a few minutes with Lillian, so you can kind of hear how she did it. But you come into it and saying like, okay, I want to work with these people. So if I were to create a group, I help coaches transition to a full-time business. So I can say, hey, great, I'm helping coaches transition to a full-time business. That might even be the name of my group. And we meet on every other week, and we talk about different components to get your business going or help you transition. And you can pick a local spot. Ideally you're going to pick spots where that there's at least somewhat of, when I say a major city, it doesn't have to be like a Boston or New York type of thing, but you want to find a spot that's, has a decent amount of people. You want to find a spot where you can meet that is easily accessible, and some great spots. I've got a handful of clients that I've worked with that are using Meetup currently and doing it successfully. There people have used different restaurants. I've got a client who's been doing it for well over a year. She's been in DC area, and she does it at a local restaurant, and she's used that very successfully for over a year, and she's up to getting like 15 to 20 people each month into her group. So it's quite a good sized number. And then we got people who are using spots like Lillian, I believe you use Panera. She'll talk about that in a second. Starbucks is another great spot as well. So any type of place where there's some type of social space. Even restaurants are great because, if depending on the time of day or even early evening, for different restaurants during the week, like on a Wednesday at 5, 6, 7 p.m., most restaurants aren't super crowded. So it's finding a spot where you have a booth or you pull a couple tables together and and you can just meet with people. And the great part about it is when you start it off, you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm gonna have I need this huge space, and I need to rent out space. The great part about it is it doesn't cost you anything to do it, because you can go to a Panera Bread, and you know what I mean. People can order if they want to order something, and otherwise you just meet and you use that space. And it's the norm now in those types of places where people stay and they socialize and they do meetup. They do their businesses. They bring their laptops. They bring their tablets. And there's free Wi-Fi in those places for a reason, because they want you to stay, right? They want you to gather. They want you to bring people. So it's not like you have to go to the owner, et cetera, and say, hey, I'm going to have this meeting. Because typically right away, if you get a handful of people at the most, you're going to be doing good. Typically your first meetup, I would expect from like 0 to maybe 4 or 5 people. And if you get more than that, fantastic. But that's just like you and a few friends going out, for lunch. So it's not like you have to arrange something. Obviously, if it starts to grow, which would be the ideal piece, right? Then you'd want to, then you can start to talk to somebody. You could talk to an owner. Maybe you might need to find a different spot at that point. But at that point, obviously, you've got more things happening. So if there was a cost involved for a spot or something like that, at that point, you should be able to be getting clients from that every time you do the meetup group. And that's going to be advantageous for you. But initially, it's starting it off. It's very easy. So if you just simply go to meetup.com, it's easy to start up a meetup group. And then I believe in terms of getting the meetup going, once you subscribe to it, I think there's 2 different options or 2 different levels. I think the first level is like $9.99 a month, or I think that's what it is. And that basically enables you. It does the marketing for you within the platform, et cetera. And I can have Lillian talk about that in a second and see what she did with that. But basically, it's very easy to get going. And tying this back to what I said initially when I opened this up about building our audience and building relationships and finding that place where you've had experience, so people can start to see hope through what you're talking about, start to know and trust you, is now you have this opportunity where you're getting a small group of people together. You're the leader, you're the coach. And you have the opportunity now to have some nice individual, small group coaching. It's an opportunity for you to get to know people on a much more intimate basis and to really role model your coaching skills. And when I work with my mentoring clients, one of the number one things I'll tell them is that, don't go into this meetup, having scripted this whole thing and planned this whole thing out and, word for word and so on and so on. Because number one, it's going to feel like, oh my God, I'm going to have an hour. What am I going to do? But as we'll hear from Lillian in a second, how quickly the hour does go. But bigger than that is you want to be role modeling coaching. Like you want to be coaching these people, and yes, you're going to be uncomfortable doing that, but the more you do it, the more comfortability you'll gain with it. But remember, at the end of the day, we're doing this because we want to get clients out of this. And the only way we're going to get clients is by people starting to get to know us, starting to get to like us, and us starting to get to know them, and where they are in their world. What needs do they have? And then taking those needs and then being able to follow up with them after the meeting and be able to find out, hey, listen, where are you at? What's the timing going on? And we'll talk about that with Lillian. So Lillian, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So the reason I wanted to have you on the call is because, this is a brand new thing for you as of like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes, it is.
Right. So we've been working together probably, 6
weeks.
I don't even know, like maybe 2 months now? 3 months?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's in September.
Yeah, right. So we're still
September,
fairly
yes.
new.
Mm-hmm.
And you came into our mentoring relationship kind of just like, I know I want to do this, but I don't know who I'm going after, and we started right from scratch with you, right?
Very much from scratch, yes. I had an idea what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to condense it. It was just so big. So I didn't know how to condense which audience I wanted to approach.
Yes. And so I believe even after our first session, we were able to condense it down to what? What is your audience? Who are you helping with what specifically?
Well, I am helping single mothers find purpose beyond motherhood. I am a single mother myself, and at the beginning, I didn't know single motherhood can be so broad. So when we narrow it down to finding purpose.
Yeah, and when you say finding purpose beyond motherhood, like what does that mean? What does that mean for you in terms of where you're coming from?
For me, when I became a single mother, I was so overwhelmed with all the responsibilities that I felt that I lost myself, and I didn't know what else to do. And then as the children got older, I found myself, well, now that the kids are getting older and I have a little time for myself, what am I going to do with myself? What is there besides being a mom, work, home, eat, sleep every day? So I decided to do a little bit of soul searching, and that's how I came across to life coaching. And for that reason, I decided to focus on single mothers, because
Nice.
I'm sure there's a lot of single mothers like me out there feeling like what to do
Yes.
besides being a mom.
So we were able to nail that down fairly quickly. And then, I mean, you went through, I mean, you're still in coaching school right now, right?
Correct. I do Math 3 in January.
Yeah, so she's going through coaching school. She just made a major move from, Georgia to New Jersey.
Oh, my. Yes.
As a nurse, right? You're a nurse?
Medical technologist.
Yeah, medical technology. And so quit your job, moved up there. So major transition. And in the midst of this, here she is, like, working with me, like, Jeff, I want to grow my business. I want to do my business, right? So,
correct.
I mean, really ambitious, and you could tell, like, in everything at the end of our session, she's always, doing things, getting things done. And so, literally 2 weeks ago, came to our call, and you're like, I want to do a meetup group. I want to get people together, right?
Correct. What happened is coming to New Jersey and starting from scratch. And my goal is to go full-time coaching as soon as possible. Of course, I still have a little bit to do, but with that in mind, I'm starting from scratch. So I happened to come across Meetup.com because I was searching for some kind of hobby. And I joined a hiking group. It's funny you mentioned it earlier, but I did join a hiking group. And I met up with the group, and I kind of got an idea what it was like to be in a meetup group, and I had a wonderful time. And when I logged into Meetup.com, I noticed that it says create a meetup. And a light bulb came up, and that's when I talked to you, Jeff, and I said, this is what I want to do. And
yes. What was that light bulb, though?
Oh, my. So I said to myself, well, if we can find people that love hiking together, we can get single moms that are struggling as a single parent together. So then I said, okay, well, this is what I want to do. And I created the meetup, and I purposely titled it Single Moms Finding Purpose Beyond Motherhood. I made sure that that's the audience and that's the people that I wanted in my group. And I
want to pause you there for a second. That's vital for everyone to know, because when we come up with that phrase, helping who with what specifically, right? Helping single mothers find purpose beyond motherhood, helping coaches transition to a full-time business, whatever your phrase ends up being, that ends up becoming your headline of the title of your book, the title of your Facebook group, the title of it's everything right then and there. Like, that describes everything that you do. And so being able to title that, now every single person who joins that group, it's very easy to know who they are because you're attracting those specific people. So you titled it that group, so now continue
Correct.
on. Sorry, I wanted to make that point. That's important.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. So I titled it that way, and my heart was pounding because this is, first of all, I never was part of a meetup group before. I just joined this hiking group. That in itself was brand new to me. I didn't even know how this thing worked.
Right.
But now I'm creating a meetup myself, and my heart was pounding. I was a little nervous, but I did it anyway. And I have to say that in 24 hours, I had 35 members. Another thing is that with Meetup.com, the good thing is that you can target a larger area. Right now, even though I'm in a temporary location because I haven't settled permanently yet, I was able to target a county instead of just a town. Because Meetup.com, when you select your area, if you log in into the Meetup.com, you can see how many groups are in that area. So your group, Meetup.com, will market to more than just the town that you live in. It targets the whole district, I say. Something
So
like
talk about the platform a little bit. Here's coming from someone who, I mean, how would you categorize yourself in terms of technology and internet-based social media?
I am deficient in technology, that's for sure.
So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the Mac Daddy, 1 being ignorant.
2.
Okay, there you go.
I'm a 2. But, you know, the thing is that this Meetup.com, it is so easy to use. It is, everything is, it's very easy to navigate. It is very easy to set up. And with that said, the Meetup.com, they do have a customer service community. And once you enter your information, they will email you and tell you what to do. They have like these little videos on how to get it started. And they give you like hints of, you know, how to start the meetup and things like that. So for me, it was wonderful because I didn't have to do too much technologically wise, you know, everything was there for me. Meetup.com has a platform where you can message each member individually. You can email them as a whole group, or you can select which members to email, which is a great thing. When you create your first meeting or second meeting, it gives you an option to make it recurrent. In my case, I decided that I was going to have 2 meetups a month. And the reason I decide that is because, you know, single moms are busy and they have things to do. But I think that once a month was not enough for a single mother to open up and share and explain, you know, in kind of events or X, Y, and Z. You also have the option to ask questions when a member joining into your group. For example, I have 3 questions. What attracted you to these, you know, what attracted you about the group? How do you feel about having a group like this in your area? What are you looking to accomplish, or what are you looking to gain being part of this group? And once they answer those questions, you have an idea where each member is at. I have 46 members right now, and it's only been 2 weeks, like Jeff said. I already had my first meeting and my second meeting scheduled. But the good thing is I know which member wants to gain from the group. Most of them are saying they want to build more friendships and relationships outside because single moms can be a little lonely. But I also have one member, she is a paralegal, and she expressed she wants to help single mothers. She wants to share information about some legal things she knows about family law. And I also have other members who they want to find a support group because they don't have support in their own family.
So you're finding that even through starting it up and you being able to use the platform and, like you said, those options of connecting with these people who join, it really allows you the ability to connect with them very easily.
Very easily. It's very easy. So also as each member join the group, because you have the option to message them, I welcome them immediately. That's one thing that's very important, and we discussed this with Jeff as well, and he said many times to follow up quickly so they feel that you know, you are acknowledging them. And also when they RSVP, also thank them for RSVP. I'm looking forward to see you, and I did that with each member that responded to my first meeting. And it is very easy to do. The platform of Meetup.com is very easy to use, very user-friendly.
And the biggest thing, too, here is as we listen to Lillian talk about this stuff, is this interaction. You know, she already now, like, even within a week, Lillian, you were up to like 40-something people within the first week, right?
I have 46 members.
46 members, yeah. So, and it's been live for a couple weeks now, right?
2 weeks, yes. Two and a half weeks. But also, like I mentioned earlier, not only I have 46 members, they are from different areas of New Jersey, right? Because I'm here in New Jersey. So my goal is, and this is something that it's great to know, is that now I have different now I know where my audience is at. Because
Yes.
originally it's like, where am I going to find all these single moms? But the good thing about the Meetup.com, they come to you. They're the one looking for this. They're the one. And that's another thing. Every single member was so grateful that this meeting was available to them. So now I know where they're at. So my goal is not only to have 2 meetings a month, is to have 2 meetings in different towns. So every member, it is accessible to every member, but they can invite friends, and you never know what more people can you bring in.
Yes.
Right now. Go ahead.
So this is great. So Lillian, so a couple of weeks you got 46 people, right? And so
Right.
for people listening, it's like you know what? You don't know what type of results you're going to get in terms of people.
Yes.
But either way, like right now, if you've got nobody,
Mm-hmm.
you have no opportunity to. So now,
Yeah.
be able to do some simple actions like Lillian did, it's like all of a sudden. And the cool part, Lillian, is I mean, you kept emailing me like, Jeff, like what was the first email? Like,
I don't know. I have something. I
I think it was
forgot.
25 people. Like,
Yeah.
I just started it up, and yet, like within like hours, you had like 25 people. I'm like, are you
Yes.
kidding me?
Yes.
And I could just feel the excitement with her, and part of it too is just creating some momentum. It just feels great. So Lillian, let's talk about like your event, because you had your first event this past Sunday. So what,
Oh
3
my
days
goodness.
ago?
Yes, I was so excited and so nervous because now I have 46. So the thing is, originally I didn't know where to find single mothers. Now, due to Meetup, I have 46 single moms wanting to meet, and now it's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now, right? 'Cause it's not just 1 or 2, it's 46, right? So now I'm like, okay, I have to create a meeting. Where can I meet? Where, I know not everybody's going to come, but where can I meet? Because they don't know me, I don't know them. So I want to create a safe environment for them and a safe environment for me. So I decided to meet at Panera on Sundays, because Sundays is kind of like Jeff said earlier, it's kind of a slow day for Panera. So I know there will be more availability in regards to seating. And also you bring in them business, because everybody that comes in buy a coffee or X, Y, and Z. So now I'm a little nervous. But anyway, I created my first meeting that same week that I created the group. I created the group. I saw everybody joining, and I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. But then that same week, I decided to create a meeting. And within also a few hours, I already have 4 RSVPs. And my heart was pounding. And I was like, now I had to create content. So with that said, I was so excited, but at the same time, so nervous. I also decided that every meeting there's going to be a topic for discussion. So I decided to talk about guilt on my first meeting. So 7 people RSVP'd to my first meeting, and 4 actually showed up. And it was this past Sunday, and let me tell you, I was so nervous. I had no clue. It's intimidating. You don't know these people, and they don't know you. But we had a wonderful time. 4 single mothers. I created the meeting for an hour.
And Lillian, let me stop you. Hold on 1 second, Lillian.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted this is a point.
Sure.
So you said 7 people registered.
Yeah, for the meeting,
4
for the
showed
first
up.
meeting.
Yes, for the first meeting, 4 showed up.
Yeah.
And so we're talking basically out of 46 women, right? We've got 4 actually showing up. So let's just say it's like just under 9%, which is great, right? Like that's actually higher than a percentage. I always go for like 3 to 4%. So you've doubled that, which is great. Talk briefly about what you did to prior to that. I know you were messaging them and stuff like that, but what did you do to confirm and help get these people to the event?
Well, I also through Meetup, not only Meetup.com will market your meeting. They will send emails to a bulletin board on Meetup.com. So everybody, whether it's in your group or not, or people on other groups can see that you have a meeting coming up. So it's not just your members. Everybody that, every group and every can see that that meeting it's going to be held at that time. And so anybody from another group can join as well. I mean, so that's the great thing about it. It's not just your members who see the meeting. that's coming up, the event. So what I did was a day prior, after the RSVP, I thanked them for RSVP, and I told them I was looking forward to see them. But the day before the meeting, I sent another email just to my group saying, we have, this meeting coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing you, and kind of like another reminder that the meeting was coming. And you can set up the meetings where they can RSVP up to an hour before the meeting, which is a great thing too. They have
This
options.
is all on the platform that allows you to do this.
It's all in the platform. That is correct.
Yeah. And this is coming from a person who rated herself a 2 out of 10 as a technology user.
I'm so grateful. This is
and I described one as being ignorant. So she rated herself as a 2, and she's doing all of this fantastically. So I'm just pointing that out for everyone, right?
It's very easy. I encourage everyone because
so now you're there, you're at Panera Bread. The 4 women show up. Just briefly, talk about your experience. Obviously, you're going in there nervous, but the experience from start to finish.
Well, what I tried to do is, first of all, I decided to talk on guilt. So I Googled, I did a little research on guilt, so I can have a little knowledge of what I'm going to talk about, even though I experienced guilt myself. But besides talking about guilt on experience, I wanted to know a little bit, And then on top of it, so when I got there, I divided, in my mind, I had it divided into 15-minute interval, greeting, talking, and so on and so forth. And it actually, even though I didn't set a clock, it kind of went that way. The ladies came in and introduced myself. Each lady introduced themselves. And what I did was I brought up the topic, and then I had each single lady talk about how that topic influenced her as a single parent. So, for example, in my case, since it was 4 and we were talking about guilt, I gave each lady an opportunity to express how guilt plays a part into single motherhood for them, because each person feels guilty for different reasons.
Yeah.
Whether it's X, Y, and Z. So they all had an opportunity to share, and the greatest thing is when the hour came, and the hour went by so fast, I was like, wow, they wanted to keep talking. So I stopped the meeting, and I said, listen, the meeting was set up for an hour. I don't want to impose, but if anyone needs to leave, and they said, no, we can't stay longer. We actually stay. I scheduled it from 5 to 6. We ended up finishing the conversation at 6:58.
Nice.
We stayed almost an extra hour talking. They were so comfortable. And the thing is, it's not just what I got, what I was so excited is that not only I'm working on my coaching skills, I am providing a support group for these ladies who don't have any. So not only I'm helping myself, I'm helping the community. And that was such a great feeling. And before they left, I thanked every single one of them for trusting me, for showing up. 2 of the ladies drove almost an hour to come to this meeting. And that speaks volumes of the need that we have for single mothers to have a support group. So it opened up so many doors for me, because not only I am serving the community now, I'm like Jeff said, I'm practicing my coaching skills, but not only, I have single moms all over New Jersey, and 2 of my members are actually from New York. Because on Meetup.com, the one that I'm at is service New Jersey and New York. And because of that, they saw my group and they joined. So now I'm going to communicate with them. So one of these months, I'm going to go to New York and have this meeting. So now the opportunities are endless, because it's not just in my town, it's in different towns, and it's even in New York.
So now let's talk about this. Let's take the last 5 minutes or so and talk about how we're going to convert this into actual business, because we had a session yesterday about that. And then we'll be able to open up the call for the people listening in. And if you have some specific questions about, for Lillian about her experience or anything on Meetup, we'll open that up for you guys as well as comments. But this is the point now where it's like, so everything's great. So let's say someone else has their own Meetup group, and whether there's 46 people or 400,000 people, and you have a Meetup, and no matter how many people attend, at the end of the day, beyond the purpose, right, beyond the why and wanting to help people, which obviously you're doing, like you just said,
Yes.
which is a huge piece, right? Obviously, you're very fulfilled doing that.
Yes.
But now, if we're going to be doing this as a full-time business, we need to be able to convert this into paying clients, right?
Correct.
Bottom line. So now, we had a session on this yesterday, so this would be a great kind of almost a recap to share with people. But so now, what did we talk about yesterday? What was I teaching you in terms of what to look for and how to follow up after this event to see how we can turn this into paying clients?
Yes, well, you have mentioned in your in one of your Tuesday calls that we need to kind of, not everybody's going to be a client per se, so you have to kind of get a sense of who needs your services, kind of. So anyway, during the talk with these four ladies, not only they share so much personal stuff and so much of their lives that I can relate as a single mom, but also I started to get a sense of who might need my services or who might be ready to use my services. And so with that said, I decided to take a direct approach and email, a particular member that I had this feeling that might be ready and was at a point where she might need my services. So I took a direct approach.
Talk about how we determine that. How did we determine that on the phone yesterday?
So we did. I had an opportunity to speak with her a few minutes one-on-one, and she said to me that, she just currently has gone through a life change, and she finds herself, like at a crossroad in a way, someone like, okay, what is next in my life? So her son is an adult and, in college, and now she's kind of, in a place where now she can do things for herself. So with all of that said, I got the feeling that she's ready to move forward with her life. Like I mentioned, finding purpose beyond being a mother now that her son is an adult. And it doesn't have to be, the children doesn't have to be adults, but in this particular case, so I got the sense that she was ready to move forward and make changes in her life. So it gave me the indication that she might be a great, potential client for me.
Yes. So really get down to, for people listening to that, it's like you're really looking for people that in these conversations in this hour you're spending with them, where's their need, right? And this woman you felt had this really big need. You felt a connection. Right. You almost felt like she was, she needed some help, right?
Right. Yes.
And so,
she said it herself pretty much in the conversation. Mm-hmm.
So because of the relationship that she created with this woman there, Lillian and I were talking on a mentoring call yesterday. We helped her, and we decided to take a direct approach and basically flat out ask, if she would consider working with Lillian as her mentor coach. So we actually spent quite a bit of time crafting an approach for her. Lillian, do you have that in front of you?
The email?
The email. I have it if you don't.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. If you have it, I was going to have you read it. I just wanted to...
I can pull it up real quick.
Okay. So as you pull it up, I'll say that, so we crafted this email, and so I wanted to have Lillian read it because I want people to hear, like, this is the work that we did, but this is, when you get to this place, this is kind of the whole objective of everything leading up till now, is when you get to that place and you find that person, they have that need, you get really the sense about the timing, or maybe you've even clarified that timing.
Correct.
There comes a point where we've got to ask. Otherwise, we never have the opportunity to get a client, because most of the time it's very rare for someone to actually say, hey, listen, tell me more about your coaching. I'm interested. That doesn't mean it never happens. Just assume it never happens because it's very rare. So we crafted this approach. Lillian, do you have it now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So go ahead and read it for him.
Okay. So I greeted her. Hello, so and so. Since we met on Sunday, you have been on my mind quite a bit. After listening to you and connecting with you, what you're going through, I understand and relate to where you're at. Correct me if I am wrong, but it feels like now you feel lost due to the recent events in your life or are ready to move forward and figure out what your new life is going to be like. And I get the sense that you might need some help. Based on all of this, I cannot help but ask if you would consider hiring me as your coach. Not sure if the timing is right for you, however, based on everything we spoke about, it feels like timing couldn't be better. Please give me your honest thoughts, and I am just here to help. After hearing all you shared, I felt compelled to ask because I know I can help you so much. I am looking forward to hearing back from you, and if coaching is of interest, then we can talk about what the next steps will look like. And either way, I look forward to seeing you at the other meetings. And then
Awesome.
I, had a great evening. Yes.
Perfect. And so we're going to be waiting for her response on that, right?
Correct.
And we'll see where that goes. But I wanted everyone to hear that because just the language of it, and that's the crux of everything that we're doing. If we never get to that point, this woman that Lillian's talking about, just, you never know. She could be on that other side, being like, "Wow, I really need some help," and who knows what she'll do as a result of this.
Right.
But the best part is now Lillian has an opportunity for potential clients. And we don't know how it's going to turn out, but the way we approached it was very gently, but also very directly, meaning we completely asked her, we gave a premise as to why we asked, and then we basically said, basically it doesn't matter where you're at, but either way I want to help you. Let me know what you're thinking.
And Jeff, if I might say something, actually I have to say that once you do it that first time, I think that's the hardest thing, is doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when you do it for the first time, now you're more confident to do it again. So I think for me, sending that email last night to the lady, to her, kind of broke the ice. So regardless of her response, now I can do it again. It breaks the ice. Once you do it once, it breaks the ice for future. So now I feel more confident now because, I did it, and now moving forward with I have 46 potential clients. Maybe not, maybe yes, but that's not the point. The point is now I feel more confident approaching, the other ladies.
I love it. Lillian, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you.
The last question I have before I open this up is, I talked about there was like a cost for Meetup. Is it $9.99?
Okay, well, it starts at $9.99 just to create the meetup, but if you want them to market your meeting, kind of like put it on their board for all the groups to see it, then it's $19.99 a month.
Okay, so you have two different options. So they're just basic to create a meetup and have one, it's $10 a month.
Yeah, something, and I think it's, something to that effect. I don't recall exactly, but I know I pay $19.99 just so they can do the marketing of, that way they put it on their board and every group see it.
Gives you more exposure.
Everybody that's on Meetup.com, regardless of which group, they see that that single mothers finding purpose have a meeting on that day.
Absolutely. So still minimal cost for what you can create from it.
Very, because the potential is incredible.